at 6, tip-off at 8. We'll also have Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday tomorrow at 5. Your chance to see the Blazers in action.
Live from the Coors Light Studios, it's time for the Rip City Drive, hosted by the crazy and often irrational Chad Doing. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment. Choose chill.
Round to the corner for Scoot. Backs it up on the wing. Edward takes off, drives, slithers through, up and under, and puts it in off the window. What a play by Scoot Henderson.
Whoa, athleticism and hang time at the rim.
That one had some spin on it. Rebounds Sissoko, throws it ahead for Hansen, who's under the basket, dunks it in. And Sidi Sissoko in the backcourt throws his hands in the air as he gets the assist to Young Hansen for his first point of the night.
Sarr gets it into Cam Boozer. Boozer back to Sarr. Now ahead to Caden Boozer, and UConn got a steal. Caravan for Mullins. Long three. He got it. Oh, he got it. He hit it. He hit the long three-pointer from the logo with 0.3 of a second left to go. I don't believe it. UConn has taken the lead. From the baseline, long throw in, and it's knocked away. And the UConn Huskies storm the floor. An epic comeback from 19 points down. UConn wins it 73-72.
Strap in. The Rip City Drive with Chad Doing starts now.
To go. Got to cut and run through the ball, and who better than this guy?
Get it into Boozer, back for Sarr, ahead, Boozer, that ball deflected and stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds, Mullins tosses it up. Oh! It's good! We're point 3! UConn goes in front!
I would say in my lifetime, there's only one finish to a NCAA tournament game that's better than that one. And that was the shot heard around the world by Christian Laettner back in 92 against Kentucky. But what we saw yesterday with UConn and Duke was incredible. Simply amazing. What a fun game that was. And what a great job by UConn to continue to battle and do whatever they could to keep themselves in a position to strike. And they did. And, you know, you want an example of why I'm so hardcore and gung-ho about the Blazers reducing turnovers. Yesterday, Duke lost because they kept turning it over, and UConn converted. 20 points off turnovers in the game, and they get the sensational play at the end of the game. It was awesome. Simply amazing. What a game that was, and now the Final Four is set. All right, a lot of things coming up on the show today. We're going to talk with Casey Bay, Beefwater from 105.9 The Brew. He's got his autism walk coming up. And it's going to be bigger, longer, and better than last year's. And, of course, his son and my son both autistic. So we'll talk with Beefwater and get his take on what he's going to be doing this year to raise awareness for autism, which is a very commendable venture on his part. At 4:20, former Gonzaga Bulldog, former Prairie Falcon, Dan Dickow will join us to break down the Final Four. We'll talk about the tournament. We'll obviously get his take on Duke and UConn from yesterday. Dan Dickow at 4:20. And then Cale Wambacher, general manager for the Hillsboro Hops, coming on the show today at 5:20. We're going to get his take on the upcoming season and, of course, the home opener in their brand-new ballpark coming up on April 7th. I'll be out there a week from tomorrow, live from Hillsboro with the Rip City Drive. And I'm also going to do a Catch 365 with John Sakanik on the field before the game to really take in what that means. What a huge opportunity this is for the city of Hillsboro to go out and check out the ballpark that got done. I mean, the work that Cale and his team put in to get this done is amazing, and it's worth celebrating. So we'll talk with Cale at 5:20. If you want to reach out to me, we got the Rip City Radio text line at 88528, 88528. You can also just rip off a phone call at 503-248-0620. Now, I struggled with what to lead the show with today with the Duke-UConn game, but I'm going to get to that a little bit later and share my insight on that. I wanted to deal with what I've been talking about the most with the people I work with and know so well over the last 24 hours. Now, as you know, or if you don't know, the NBA Board of Governors has voted today, and they confirmed unanimously Tom Dundon as the new owner of the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, from everything that I've been able to read and gather from people I've talked to in regard to Tom Dundon, I think this is a day of celebration for Rip City. Now, as you know, I'm a huge Denver Bronco fan. When Pat Bowlen passed away, the team was run by a trust for multiple seasons. And I don't think a trust long-term running your team is a good scenario. The trust is there for a reason, to help facilitate the sale of the team, to find new ownership, and then the new owner could take over. But the problem is when you have the trust in place running the team, you really don't have that one decision maker at the top who's out looking to get things done, who's focused on the future, building the team, the franchise, and whatever it's going to take to win a championship. And that's not a slight towards, Jody Allen or Burt Cold or anybody. That's just the reality of the matter. But Dundon's going to come in, and from what I can gather when it comes to the way he looks at things, he's very competitive, ultra competitive, loves sports, and he wants to win. He is someone that will do whatever it takes to win. And I've mentioned this before. I have a very simple thought process when it comes to what I want or desire in an owner of a team I'm a fan of. Does the owner want to win? Are they willing to do whatever it takes to win? Are they focused on what it's going to take to get the team to a championship? And are they willing to spend to be able to do that? And based on his track record in Carolina with the Hurricanes, the answer to those questions are all yes. And for me, if you check those boxes as a fan, I'm in. He wants to win. He's willing to spend to do it, and he's ultra competitive. And that's why I love Paul Allen so much, because he was a guy who loved the Trailblazers. He wanted to win, and he spent hundreds of millions of dollars trying to make it happen. Now, he never got over the hump. He almost did with the Trailblazers, but didn't. But his heart was in the right place. And when that is the case, I can forgive the mistakes, because no owner, no GM, you're not going to bat 1,000, right? Even Shohei Ohtani, as great as he is, he doesn't bat 1,000. You're going to make some mistakes, and that's okay. But do you want to win? Are you willing to do whatever it takes to make that happen? Are you willing to spend to make that happen? I also know that based on his track record with Carolina, that his focus is on the product on the floor. He looks at sports for what it is. It's the entertainment business. And he wants to put an entertaining product on the floor that fans will want to show up and watch. He also put some new measures in to provide better value for fans with a reduction in cost of concessions. He did some things ticket-wise that were fan-friendly. So he definitely has the customer in mind, which is good. That's a very good thing. And he wants to win. Now, the other side of the coin is that he's someone, based on what I can gather, that wants to save money. He doesn't want to spend excessive dollars in areas where there's redundancy or potential waste. And so he's going to come in and he's going to take a look at the books. He's going to look at every bit of operation. And if he deems something to be unnecessary or redundant, he's not going to waste money on it, because he wants to utilize his resources into the product on the floor. And so what that means is that there are people, and I have a lot of friends and people I have great respect for within the organization who do a great job and are good people, who are nervous right now because they might lose their job. And I think we all know this. Anytime a new boss comes in, and this has been the case at every radio station I've ever worked at, when you get a new boss, you get nervous, because what does a new boss like to do? Well, naturally, they're going to want to surround themselves with the people they know and trust. And that means people end up losing their job. That's just the reality of it. So I feel for the people right now who are nervous about their future with the organization, who are doing good work, but with the new owner coming in, they just don't know. There's also this on the radio side where he did this with Carolina, and he's looking at it right now where he went with a television simulcast for the radio broadcasts to eliminate unnecessary costs because he doesn't believe that you need two different products to describe the same action. And so I've got people within the broadcast side that are nervous as well. And so I hate to see that kind of stuff. But as a fan, and most fans just want to know, hey, are we winning games or are we losing? I think Dundon's heart will be in the right place when it comes to putting a winning product on the floor. He'll be aggressive. He's ultra competitive. He wants to win, and he'll spend on players to make that happen. So that's good. That's a good thing. You want that as a fan, someone who wants to win, someone who's aggressive, and someone who's willing to put their resources into that. But that's been the big scuzzlebutt over the last 24 hours in my world. In regard to the tournament, I had a great time down at Spirit Mountain Casino this weekend, hanging out, watching the ball, and watching Duke lose was amazing. And what's amazing is Dan Hurley is not even a likable guy because he's crazy on the sidelines, but nobody likes Duke. And I do think, think about all the teams that we love to hate on. Just think of the teams that you love to see lose. What comes to mind? The Cowboys, their fan base is annoying. I love Jerry Jones, but their fans are crazy. Entitled and annoying Dallas Cowboy fans. You know it, I know it. Raider fans live in a state of myopia that cannot be resolved. There's no cure for Raider myopia. It's the worst. Their fans are crazy. Their team sucks. Their ownership is awful, and they've been a disaster most of my lifetime, and yet they still buy into the stuff that Al Davis was peddling like back in the 70s. The greatness of the Raiders. Speed kills. Commitment to excellence. Ridiculous. Raider fans are bad. Laker fans. We don't like Laker fans. Patriot fans. Think of the teams that you want to see lose, and you'll tune in to watch just to watch them go down. A lot of Laker haters here in Portland for good reason. But I think if you look at any team in that category of who we like to see go down, it's Duke. It's Duke. It's got to be. Rich, entitled, they win a lot. They have all the proper ingredients to be hated on. And they melted down once again in the tournament, just like they did last year in the Final Four against Houston. They were up by 19 at one point, and UConn continued to chip away, and then Duke came apart at the seams, gave up 20 points off turnovers, game over. And credit to Boozer for owning it after the game. That was very commendable. What a shot. Second best shot I've seen in the tournament in my life, following Leitner's ridiculous shot against Kentucky in that game where he did not miss a shot. What was he, like 9 for 9 from the field in that game, including the game winner at the buzzer? Ian Eagle is great. And Bill Rafferty and Grant Hill, the video online of their reaction to what went down was awesome. But Ian Eagle is the best. All right, we'll come back. We're going to talk about Beefwater's Walk for Autism. It's going to be a great event. I love Beefwater, and we both have sons who have autism, and I know a lot of you out there have kids who have special needs. So we are here. We know what you're going through. 503-248-0620. Dan Dickow talking Final Four at 420, and then Cale Wambacher, general manager for the Hops, at 520 to preview the upcoming season and next Tuesday's official home opener in the brand new Hillsborough Ballpark, which is awesome. All right, 503-248-0620. Brendan Slaughter is with me. You got the Rip City Drive on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, what a pleasure this is. My good friend and one of my favorite coworkers in the building from 105.9 The Brew. It's Beefwater, Casey Bay in the house. What's up, my brother?
What's up, man? It's nice to be back in here in this nice, fresh studio you got going on.
I know. It's like total chaos, and it's funny because with all the construction going on, I'm sure you guys have experienced this in the morning. I got dudes in like hard hats and orange shirts walking in mid-show.
Yeah.
Hey, is that outlet on? I'm like, I'm only trying to do radio here.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me.
Yeah, that's what they. We have a little bit of reprieve in the morning. They're not supposed to technically fire up anything until 10 a.m.
I got like jackhammers and all kinds of stuff.
I'm talking 10:02. It's ripping. And I came out of the studio the other day, and they were working in the room behind us, and I just stood in the doorway until they noticed me, and I go, "Hey, man, we're trying to do a radio show next door." And the guy's face went white. He didn't know if he was in trouble or not. And I go, "You're good. We're all right."
Just messing with him. I love that so much. But it should be good once the building is done. You're the one that gave me the tour and what to expect and what they're trying to accomplish. And so now that I can visualize it, I'm like, good. Do all the work you need to do because when it's done, it's going to be nice.
It's going to look so good when it's done.
Everyone talks about Motor Center needing a facelift. We needed a facelift.
We did need a facelift. We had the worst carpet in Portland. Hands
worse
down.
than the airport carpet, man.
No, I mean just stain-wise. It looked like we had squatters in here.
I don't want them to ever take a blue light over that old carpet and know what's on it.
No.
The DNA would be unreal,
especially on the fourth floor. There was some get-togethers up there.
It would be worse if they took a blue light over the carpet here in our building than it would like over one of those bedspreads in a seedy motel. Guaranteed.
Yeah, the Motel 5. Just the blue stain. Look like camouflage.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited. You sent me the note, and you did it last year. And what I love about last year's Autism Walk, and for those of you who don't know, Beefwater and myself, we both have sons who have autism. And so you and I have lived our entire lives, or at least the last several years with our sons, trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of days where it doesn't make any sense at all. And the weird part about autism, and maybe you can relate to this, I'm sure, but when I first found out that Isaac had autism and he was diagnosed, I didn't even know what the hell it was. I'm like, what's going on with this? And then I freaked out because I'm like, great, my son's not normal. I don't know what this means. And I spent the next couple of years just trying to accept it. And then once I accepted it, then you start to dive into the information, and then you realize how much people still don't know about autism.
Yeah. It's man, I would say that's pretty similar to the boat I was in. We also, I mean, our kids are pretty close in age too, so we came in a time where there's more information now than there was then.
Yeah,
there's more help than there was then. We came up in a time where there was no information unless you had a diagnosis, and getting a diagnosis was trying to find the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Like it was a very tough thing to do. We were parents that were on a waiting list to be on a waiting list to see the grand poobah that would give you the official diagnosis.
Yeah.
And then insurance would play ball. Until then, it was the glorious words of out of pocket. Like you just paid. We were paying several $1,000s a month, just in behavior therapy and everything that you need to try and get some sort of handle on it while your household is melting down on a daily basis.
Yeah, occupational therapy, behavioral therapy. We've done it all with Isaac too, and it's difficult.
Yeah.
And the household, as you and I have laughed about, and I'm not joking about this, ever since Isaac's been born, not one normal, quote normal, whatever the heck that means, holiday.
Yeah.
Everything is difficult because of you have to set everything up to make sure that your autistic child has success. And if there's too much stimulation or too much going on, or they get uncomfortable, or if you derail from a plan that they had accepted, and then you're going to get chaos.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, and that's it. Like it takes one little blow of the wind, and your day is not going to go the way that you hoped it was going to go. And that everything, like what gifts that, your grandparents give the kids gifts and they don't accept it like they hope. And so it's just a sea of hurt feelings for years on end until everybody finally just like comes to terms with like, this is just how it's going to be. It's the Wild West.
Yeah.
And all we can do is, try and embrace it and do the best that we can.
Dude, you're so funny about the hurt feelings. Like, there were several years that my mom would cry after Isaac would open up his Christmas gifts.
It just is what it is.
He opens it up and then looks at it and he tosses it aside and goes right to the next gift. And it's like, it's not that he doesn't like the gift he just opened, but he's got to go through the process of opening the gift.
Yeah, and you better hope they don't change the package. You didn't buy the green box instead of the white box. Like, whatever it is, because they will tell you, this is not the one I asked for. What's going on?
Well, you finally came to this decision last year because you told me about it. And I think I've arrived at the same point where you're like, I want to do something. You weren't really sure what it was, but you knew you wanted to do something to bring attention and raise awareness for autism because you wanted to help people out there, families who are dealing with the same things that you are. And that's when you kind of came up with the organic idea of walking.
Yeah, this is what happens when you shoot your mouth off in a meeting. Is what happens is you go, hey man, I would like to do something, like maybe a walk or something, and then your boss comes and says, okay, by the way, you're doing that in 10 days.
Yeah,
and so that's exactly how it went down. I had an idea. It came out of my mouth. 10 days later, I was lacing up shoes and being followed by a news crew while I walked 10.3 miles from this building to the Moda Center.
From Tigard, right here at the corner of I-5 and 217, all the way down to Moda Center. And that was where you finished, right?
That's it. And I got greeted by, Douglas Fir and Blaze the Trail Cat and the Blazer Dancers and a marching band. And the news was waiting for me down there. And I felt like I did something.
Now, didn't you have people stopping by on your path? Because you were with Court Weber at the time. They were bringing you beverages and stuff. Who was that?
Yeah, Shake Shack. Shake Shack swung through. They came in clutch, and they hooked it up. And yeah, they that was all organic too. Like they just heard us talking about it on the air, and they said, "Hey, we want to get it. We want to get involved in that." And that's how this has gone the entire time. So then this year we go, "Hey, okay, we're going to do it again. Yeah, we're going to up the ante." But we're having meetings with people about other things. Throughout the year, we were talking, doing a toy drive for K103. And we were meeting with the folks at Jamba.
That's awesome.
And so, our managers are like, tell them about your walk. That was a neat thing that we did last year. And I did. And he, just kind of looked at me, when you can tell you connected with somebody and it's like, they're not saying nothing, but like you hit something.
Yeah.
And he just looked at me and he goes, man, I got a nephew that's 7 that's on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And he goes, I want in next year.
That's great.
And I go, man, this is great.
Yeah.
And so he's in. He's going to be walking with me as well. And he's like, hey, dude, I'm going to match the first $1,000. Even better. That's great. And then I was up at doing an appearance at Car Toys in Tigard the other day. And talking to the manager up there. And he's like, this came up because, that we're in the planning phases of it. And he goes, so when's your walk this year? I told him. And he immediately puts it on his calendar, and he goes, I'll be walking with you. He goes, I got a brother with autism. And he goes, I want to do that with you.
Really?
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome.
And so, I just feel like as it keeps rolling and as I keep coming into contact with people, these organic relationships happen.
Yeah.
And I think people want to do something, but they don't know how. And not that they don't know how to do it, but, where to begin to make it happen.
Yeah.
And we're lucky. We're in an industry that this is what we do.
Yeah.
And so I feel that it's a responsibility of my job to do it.
Yeah. And I think it's a great thing. And the cool part is by sharing our stories and what I've learned by talking about Isaac over the years, the same experience you had at Car Toys where you realize how many people know someone or have family members or have children that are on the spectrum.
Dude,
it's so much.
And that's exactly what happened. We drove last year's total by emotion.
Yeah.
And there's no two ways about it. I still, dude, I don't know if I'll ever not be emotional about it. I try to not be, and it's just really hard when I start talking about it.
You should be emotional because it's personal, It's like, think about, because it's because of your son and the connection you have with him and the work you put into it.
It's this weird duality, right? On one hand, I've had 2 decades of it. I've had my soul beaten out of me. I've had the toughest days I've ever known.
Yeah.
And I've survived that. And now my son's 20. It's still, it still has its times, but it's not like he was when he was 5 or 7. You know what I mean? Those juvenile years.
Horrible.
They will wreck your soul.
Yeah.
And I don't say that flippantly. It's everything that you can do to hold on to yourself and not get lost in it.
Yeah.
And not feel sorry for yourself or, I don't want any of that. I just want to figure out how to do it and give my kid the best opportunity I can. And yeah, man, it's just wild. So that happened. And dude, when they gave us a page that had a goal of $5,000 on it, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I was like, man,
how the hell are we going to hit 5,000?
Dude, I was hoping to get 500.
Yeah.
Right. But man, the day of that walk, like people just got on board and dude, we were rolling.
Yeah.
And to where we hit almost $8,000 in 10 days was
freaking awesome.
It just makes me feel super good.
That's so great. What is the date of the walk this year?
We are the last Friday of the month, so April 24th. And yeah, I'll be taking off here at 6 o'clock.
But you're going longer this year, right?
Yeah, we're going to expand. And I would love to say this was my idea, but it wasn't. My boss is like, "Hey, you're going to go longer. You're going 17 miles this year." And I went, "Okay. Well, I mean, I'm down for the challenge. Nearly double. I don't know. I mean, the 10.3 I thought was going to wreck me last year.
Yeah.
And man, when I got out of bed the next day, I was feeling every mile of it. But what I've got going for me this year, I've been putting in miles already.
Oh,
so
good.
like
you've been training.
Yeah. So I have it's still going to be tough.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be. And I'm nearly 20 pounds lighter than I was last year too.
That's great. So where's the pathway going to end? You're going to start here at the station again? And where are you going?
We're going right under the St. John's Bridge, Cathedral Park.
Wow.
So
that's a long-ass walk.
It's a long-ass walk. You're not lying about that. But, I mean, that's the landmark, baby. It's
a great finishing spot, though.
Yeah. And so I just got my fingers double-crossed that we skirt the weather and we get a decent day like we did last year. And we continue to make forward progress on this thing. And last thing I want to do is make $200 this year.
You know what gets me emotional? Because I think back to the younger days. I remember one time I was going to the grocery store. I took Isaac with me. This is before I knew that he was autistic, right? And he started going crazy when we went through the automatic doors to go into the store with sometimes they have that air that blows down. Well, we walked through that air, like it made a noise, and he just started freaking out, right? Going crazy. It's like, waving his arms, going crazy at me. And so, I had to leave and go home because he was out of control. And I gave him a little swat on the bottom. And then, you find out that your son's autistic and you're like, great. I disciplined him when he had no idea or wherewithal what was going on because of his condition. Yeah. I feel horrible.
Dude, I feel that way every time I lose my temper. And it doesn't happen very often. But, I mean, just a few weeks ago, I got home. I wasn't home 10 minutes. You know what I mean? And, like, he was in a rough mood. And, you just try and do that. Hey, man, how you been? And you've just sat in an hour of traffic getting home. You've been up since the crack of dawn. And all you want is just 10 minutes with your kid to connect. And you're immediately told to get out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's just
get out.
There's no interest in anything.
They literally want nothing to do with you.
And dude, he just punched me in the face. And I lost it. And I mean, I feel bad that I yelled at him. And like those moments where like I feel like a failure. And but it's like
those are the most difficult
you can't control
moments.
those. Like if anybody hits me in the face, like you're going to see a different side of me. You know, it's just how it is.
That's human nature.
So, but it's hard, man. And like I said, it's a weird duality because, like I said, on one hand, I've got 20 years of experience in this boat, and it seems like I would be accepting of it all, but it triggers me. And every time I talk about it, like it shows me that this is still surface deep.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever not be that way.
Yeah.
And it was a very painful experience.
Yeah.
It just is.
No. And the probably the best thing for me was, and this took a long time, but once I stopped expecting Isaac to act like me or other people, and I just embraced him for who he was and the things that he enjoyed doing, that's when we started to have a better connection.
Yeah.
Still difficult day to day, but that's when I stopped placing expectations on him that were unreasonable, and that's when things got better.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Like, you just have to take it for we are our own little unit, and we navigate under these conditions, and you do the best that you can.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like what we get is every parent gets a card to never stop worrying.
Yep.
We get a double issue.
Yeah.
Because you have to think about everything along the way. I got to think about when I'm not here anymore, how do I protect him? How do I protect his finances? How do I make sure he's not going to be taken advantage of in any way, shape, or form moving forward? And, we both have siblings too, right? So like your daughter, my daughter, sorry, part of this is going to fall on you, unfortunately, and that's just the way it is. But we live in a life where we will always have some sort of, somebody from the state overseeing things and inspecting our homes and making sure that we're providing a decent life for our kids.
And my daughter is now 16, so I've had conversations with her. I said, look, I know your brother's not nice to you most of the time, but she's very understanding to his condition and protective of him. And I said, look, I'm not trying to put extra pressure on you, but I said, there's going to come a point where I'm not here.
Yeah.
Mom's not here. He's going to need you.
Yeah.
And so that's a role. And I keep reminding him, like, hey, your sister's going to be an important part of your life. So you need to consider how you speak and conduct yourself with her, because she's going to be an important part of your life. And, you also come to the realization that Isaac is probably going to have to live with me or mom or a combination for the rest of his life. He's probably not going to be able to live alone.
And our kids are old enough that they see their sibling living a freedom that they don't have. And, he sees his sister driving a car and going out and doing her things.
Yep.
And he knows that that's not something that he is doing.
Yeah.
And so he sees the differences. And I think the thing that hits me the hardest is he oftentimes refers to himself as a weirdo. He just goes, I know I'm a weirdo. And I hate that. I hate that that's his takeaway.
Yeah. And Isaac's the same way, because he wants to connect with people and have friends as much as possible. And the problem is, like, when he hangs out at a coffee shop or if he's at a store, he'll approach anybody, right? Because he was trying to connect with them. But because he is the way he is, some people will engage with him. Some people are put off by that. And so he's been asked to leave stores before, or coffee shops, because people are uncomfortable around someone like that. And so I hate the fact that the world is set up not for people like our kids, right? Where they're shunned.
Right. And my son,
I hate that.
My son is 6'3", 230.
He's big. And Isaac's tall.
So he's a big dude. So people don't, like, when they're not thinking, and he doesn't look like, he looks like a typical dude.
Yeah.
But, like, it's people, when he acts out or whatever, they look at you like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And so that's it. So this is what we're doing it. Going to keep pushing. We're going to keep stepping, and we're going to do our part to, make acceptance a thing for families like ours. And my soft spot is for the young families that are just getting into it, that are just trying to figure out how to navigate it. And that's what I want to do it for them.
Well, you're great. I'm looking at the page right now. April 24th, Casey Beefwater Bay will, from Tanner Lauren Casey, the morning show on 105.9 The Brew, going to dust off his tracksuit and lace up his sneakers for the second annual Walk for Autism Acceptance. Love it. So where can people go? I would assume the events page at 105.9 The Brew.
Tomorrow at 8 o'clock, it's going to go live. Just go to 1059thebrew.com. You'll see it on the events page. And there'll be a link right there. And every nickel will go to Autism Society of Oregon. And
awesome.
Those people are great, man. You don't have to have a diagnosis to get help. You can reach out to them, and they will point you in the right direction. They will help guide you.
Yes, especially if you're one of those families like we were back in the beginning phases and you have no idea what's going on. They can help give you the resources to start your pathway forward, which is very helpful.
Absolutely. And it wasn't a thing for us. You know what I mean?
I didn't have it. I didn't have access to that.
So it's meaningful to me, and they were super appreciative. What we did last year was the biggest singular independent fundraiser that they had.
Yeah.
So that was awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah. So it was, for a first year thing, to do what it did and to get the news coverage, it was huge. And I got my fingers crossed that we can do it again.
Well, dude, I mean this sincerely. Like, I love you. You're a great friend and a phenomenal coworker, but this is awesome. And the good thing is, you're going to check in on the show between now and the 24th to update us on where we're at with the total. Do you have a goal in mind, money wise?
Yeah, the goal is right now at $8,000. They put it up at $5,000 last year. We came in, I want to say 7,800 and some change. Like, we were just short of $8,000, and so they're saying, hey, let's start there and see what's out. But the corporate sponsorship, I'm excited about.
Who we got for corporate sponsorship?
Jamba and Car Toys right now. And look, if y'all are looking for a tax shelter, you need to, you got some money that you need to put to get a tax credit for. This is your opportunity. And look, you want to feel good. This is the spot to do it. And I guarantee you, if you reach out there, it's not going to take you very long to find somebody that's affected.
Yes. So if you're out there listening and you want to contribute, and if you're a business owner or involved with a company that would like to jump on board and support Casey Beefwater's efforts here, just hit me up directly. You can email me at chaddoing@iheartmedia.com or just send me a text 360-281-5473, and I'll point you in the right direction to help support this. And Casey will update us before the 24th, and, of course, we'll talk after the walk. But I appreciate you coming in because this means a lot to me, and I love what you're doing. This
hey, man,
is great.
I appreciate
and it means,
you. I
it's
appreciate
personal.
you
It means a
doing
lot to you,
yeah,
man.
like it's the coolest thing that I've done, and I love that we're getting an opportunity to do it again. It seems to be setting up for an annual
Yes,
deal. And so now, I mean, if they keep it up, I'm going to be walking to Canada.
Okay, that would be awesome. Now, out of curiosity, because I know Isaac, I'm curious to what your son's reaction was to you doing the walk last year and being on the news and raising awareness for autism. Did he care
He
or
didn't
not?
care a bit, dude. He didn't care a bit. That's
classic.
I'll be quick. But so this year, I want to try and do some sort of T-shirt. So I was like, hey man, can you draw me a picture? It can be anything that you want. It could be a picture that you've already drawn. Like It doesn't matter. And he just looks at me and goes, what do you need that for? And I go, I just need it. It's just something I want. And he's like, I don't know. And when he says I don't know, that's basically no, right? And so
kind of like when your dad says, well, we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing. And so I was like, all right, well, I'll give it 2 days and then I'll go back and I'll test the water again. And he goes, what do you need that for? And I go, I just want it. And he goes, I said no, just get it out of your head. And I'm like, all right, tough one. And then maybe a day later or so, he's like, so what do you want? And then he worked out. So anyway, I got it.
You got it.
He drew me a picture. So I'm going to figure out how to incorporate this into the T-shirt. But where
That's
I was
awesome.
going here is when I said, what do you need it for? I said, remember last year when I did that walk? And he goes, nah. I said, no, we went to Dick's and I bought that tracksuit, right? And he goes, oh yeah, I remember that. And I go, I'm doing that again this year. And we're going to try and raise some money for families like ours and get kids help that have autism. And dude, that's when he went and did it and brought me the picture.
Dude, that's great.
So that meant a lot that he put 2 and 2 together, because that's the hard part. Is I wish that he would be more of a part of it.
Yeah.
And that he understood what we're doing.
Yeah. Dude, that's freaking great, man.
Yeah, but
that's
he came
great.
around.
So you're going to wear a shirt with his artwork on it.
So that's the goal. Yeah, I want to get a shirt done that's got that on it, and try and figure out a way to, like, the first maybe 50 people that make a donation of, I haven't figured that part out yet. We'll get that.
Okay. Well, if you have a shirt, I will purchase whatever the price is.
We'll
I would
get
love
you.
to have one.
We'll make it happen.
That's great. All
Chad,
right.
thank you for your time, man.
You're the man. All right, we'll keep things rolling here. Dan Dickow talking Final Four coming up at 4:20. A big thanks to Casey Bay Beefwater from 105.9 The Brew. His walk coming up on the 24th. It's going to go live on their webpage tomorrow, 1059thebrew.com. And if it doesn't matter whether it's $1, $2, however you can support and be a part of this, it means a lot. So thank you.
You're the man, dog.
That was awesome. Thanks. Yeah, big thanks to Casey Bay Beefwater from 105.9 The Brew for joining me and previewing the upcoming Walk for Autism Acceptance coming up on April 24th. And I think that's a great title for it, Autism Acceptance. What I struggle with the most is just seeing my son being rejected by society on a regular basis. He's just looking for a relationship. And because he looks the way he does and acts the way he does, a lot of people just don't accept him. He's different. And he scares some people who aren't used to being around people who are on the spectrum. And Casey deals with the same thing with his son. So very happy that he's doing this as we enter Autism Awareness Month, which is the month of April. We're going to talk with Dan Dickau on the Final Four and get his take on what went down with UConn and Duke. Certainly Duke is Duke. I think I've got that Pete Gillen bite somewhere.
Certainly Duke is Duke. They're on TV more than Leave It to Beaver reruns.
Certainly Duke is Duke.
Certainly Duke is Duke. They're on TV more than Leave It to Beaver reruns.
Seconds to go.
Got to cut and run through the ball, and who better than this guy?
Get it into Boozer, back for Sarr, ahead, Boozer, that ball deflected and stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds, Mullins tosses it up. Oh! It's good! We're point 3! UConn goes in front!
Certainly Duke is Duke. They're on TV more than Leave It to Beaver reruns.
That's so good. Pete Gillen. Certainly Duke is Duke, and they got taken out by UConn in the final seconds. Leave It to Beaver reruns.
Certainly Duke is Duke. They're on TV more than Leave It to Beaver reruns.
That was great. What a game that was. What a finish. And I'll dig into that coming up next. What a tough situation. All you have to do is hold on to the basketball. And I know what Boozer was thinking. He saw his teammate wide open up court. If he gets the pass over the top of the defense, it's going to be a dunk, game over. But he had to gather the basketball. By then, you had the defense, 2 defenders on him with arms extended. He couldn't get over the top. What a call by Iron Eagle, too. What a game. Crazy. But when the majority of Americans hate Duke and they want to see Duke go down, that made a lot of people happy yesterday.
Certainly Duke is Duke. They're on TV more than Leave It to Beaver reruns.
That soundbite will never get tired. 503-248-0620. Dan Dickau breaking down the Final Four. We got some heavy hitters in there. Michigan, Arizona. How about that comeback by Arizona over the weekend? They were down at halftime and just went white hot in the second half. Michigan looks great. Arizona looks great. UConn, not the best team in the tournament, but just a team that plays well together. And they continue to fight, scratch, and claw to get back in that game yesterday. And also thoughts on the Trailblazers, who are preparing for their biggest game of the season tomorrow night in L.A. at Intuit Dome against the Clippers. They have 6 games left, 2 against the Clippers, and if they want to get to 8th, they're going to have to win both. You got the Rip City Drive on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, it's 4 o'clock. Dan Dickow is going to join me coming up in 20 minutes to break down the Final Four and get his reaction to Duke and UConn. The four teams, Illinois and UConn, 3:09 tip-off Saturday. The Illini favored by 2.5. Following will be Michigan and Arizona. The Wolverines favored by 1.5 in a battle of one seeds. The Blazers got a 35-point win yesterday over the Wizards to get back to 500. Portland with their biggest game of the year tomorrow night in L.A. against the Clippers. Game day at 6. Tip-off will be at 8 on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Trailblazers Ticket Tuesday tomorrow at 5 for your chance to win. Just listen to me tomorrow at 5, and you'll be at Moda Center watching the Blazers play basketball. And it was a unanimous vote. The NBA Board of Governors voted and confirmed Tom Dundon as the new owner of the Portland Trailblazers. Cale Wambacher, Hops general manager, going to join the show at 5:20.
Seconds to go. Got to cut and run through the ball. Who better than this guy?
Get it into Boozer, back for Sarr, ahead, Boozer, that ball deflected and stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds, Mullins tosses it up. Oh! It's good! With point 3, UConn goes in front.
And what an amazing game that was. I actually thought Duke, they had great spacing on that final possession. 10 seconds to go. They had everything set up the right way. And the problem is that Boozer, he made the decision to try and pass the ball. And he had to collect and gather and get it over the top of the defense. But by then, you had two big guys with arms extended. And that's how UConn was able to force the turnover. What a ridiculous shot and a great play. And I credit UConn. You know, they continued to fight, scratch, and claw. They scored 20 points off of turnovers, and they just continued to battle. And for Duke, if you looked at the game, I know people are asking the question, did Duke win, or did UConn win or Duke lose? And I think Duke lost the game. They melted down. They had the lead. All they had to do was execute properly, and they win the game. And they failed to do so, and UConn gets the win. And great job by Hurley of coaching and continuing to keep his guys engaged and battling down the stretch. And all it takes is a couple of turnovers, a couple of missed free throws, and then a team making some critical threes, they get right back into it. The three ball changes everything in college basketball. What a finish. And the Final Four, I think, is going to be great. And I'll be down there on Saturday from noon to 3. And this is going to be a great month down at Spirit Mountain Casino. They have daily drawings starting April 1st. And it's going to be for $200, $300, or $500 in free play. The top winner in their daily drawings, all 30 of them will be invited back at the end of the month, and one lucky person is going to win a brand new 2026 Stingray. They're all going to be given a key, and whichever one opens the box will win the car at the end of the month. So I'll be down there hosting the Step into the Driver's Seat or Spring into the Driver's Seat drawings. But I'll be down there hosting my show, a special Saturday edition from noon until 3 Saturday. I've got some sweet giveaways that I'll have on hand, food and drink specials, and you can hang out in the sports book and get ready to watch the two games that will determine who's going to play in the national championship game. It's a win. We win, all win, and that's the place to do it. They'll have parlays, teasers, totals, futures, in-game betting on the kiosk machines, anything you want right there at Spirit Mountain Casino. So come down and join me. 1, for the Final Four, and 2, for the Spring into the Driver's Seat drawings, the daily drawings, each and every day through the month of April. Remember, the top prize winner from each day will be invited back to have a shot at winning a 2026 Stingray. So that's where I'll be on Saturday, and I'll be back down there on Monday morning for a special edition of the Rip City Drive to preview the title game. Justin Ballinger, the sportsbook manager, will join me for both shows to handicap, and we'll do a full preview, but you got to come down and join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, the Trailblazers are gearing up for their biggest game of the year tomorrow night. It's going to be down in L.A. It's one of those NBC Peacock, one of the NBC games, 8 o'clock tip, which I'm not a fan of because I got to work the game, which means a super late night. But aside from that, this is a big-time game. Now, the Blazers are back at 500. They have 6 games remaining on the schedule. 2 games this week, Clippers tomorrow, Pelicans Thursday, and then they'll get Friday, Saturday, Sunday off before they kick off their final week, which starts in Denver against the Nuggets. They'll have 4 games in that final week. Now, the Blazers are already locked into the NBA play-in tournament. They'll either finish 8th, 9th, or 10th, but based on the current standings, I would say the most likely spot is 9th. Now, if you move into 8th, again, I'll break this down for you. The NBA play-in tournament's very simple once you figure it out. At the end of the year, so once the season is done, it will end on April 12th, which is Sunday. Shortly after that, the next week on probably Tuesday, I think it's probably going to be Tuesday, Friday, or maybe Tuesday, Thursday. I don't have the exact dates yet. I don't think they've been released. But the Blazers will be in the NBA play-in tournament. The 7 and 8 seeds, which right now are the Suns and Clippers, will play a game. Whoever wins that game will become the 7th seed in the NBA playoffs. The loser of that game would play the winner of the 9-10 matchup, which right now would be the Blazers hosting the Warriors. And the winner of that game would move on to become the 8th seed in the Western Conference playoffs. So if the Blazers remain in 9th behind the Clippers, they'll have to win 2 games to get into the NBA playoffs. If they can leap the Clippers and get into the 7-8 playing game, you only have to win once. The chances of you making the postseason as the 8th seed are much higher than being the 9 or the 10, obviously. Now, the troubling part about that loss to Dallas on Friday is that it puts them in a very difficult spot. Right now, and the Clippers won yesterday as well. They beat the Bucks in Milwaukee. They're 1.5 games up on the Blazers. They also have an extra game remaining on their schedule. They have 7 remaining. The Blazers have 6. Well, with the Blazers having 6 remaining games and being a game and a half behind the Clippers, they're going to have to win both games remaining on their schedule against L.A. They play the Clippers tomorrow night in L.A. at Intuit Dome, and they'll play them again on the 10th of April at Moda Center, the game before the regular season finale against the Sacramento Kings. Now, the problem is the Clippers, you look at their record, they're like just over 500. So if you just look at the overall record, you think, well, they're average. But they got off to a bad start. I think it was 6-21. But since that point, they're like 33-15. So, yes, they got off to a slow start. But over the last couple of months, they've played almost as well as anyone in the NBA. And when Kawhi Leonard is in the lineup and engaged, they're a tough matchup for Portland. It's tough. So, do I think that Portland is going to win both games against the Clippers? Yeah, probably not. They could, but my guess is that they probably won't, which means that Portland, the odds-on situation would be them remaining at 9th. They'll be 9th. The Clippers will be 8th, which means the Suns will host the Clippers in the 7-8 matchup. The Blazers will host the Warriors in the 9-10. And if the Blazers advance, you could be looking at a rematch with the Clippers, or if the Clippers get over on the Suns, they'll have to play in Phoenix to become the 8th seed in the playoffs. That's probably how it's going to go. Now, the other troubling fact is that Jeremy Grant felt a pop in his calf on Friday, and they're doing further testing, but chances are he's going to miss the rest of the season. That would be my guess, based on how teams typically deal with calf injuries, because when it's the calf, they obviously become concerned about the potential of having the Achilles being impacted. And, I understand that you want the team to make the playoffs, but it's not worth putting Jeremy Grant at risk if there's some issue there. But as of yesterday, there was, more testing that needed to be done. So I'll take a look at the latest injury report. So Jeremy Grant is definitely out tomorrow. And we'll see. And we'll see what happens. But that's the latest. So the Blazers, if you want them to become 8, they're going to need to win both games. And that's going to start tomorrow. Now, the good thing is everything we've talked about in terms of the young core. By the way, Scoot Henderson got the start yesterday against Washington in place of Jeremy Grant, and he was great. 21 points, 7 assists. I think he was 6 of 11 from the field, so he shot well. The Blazers limited their turnovers, which was a sight for sore eyes, but they were very effective in their approach. Now, I think Scoot, this is a great opportunity for him with Grant out to emerge and become more of a focal point. He was really comfortable yesterday attacking and utilizing his athleticism. We saw a couple of great finishes. He did a good job of setting up his teammates. He was aggressive, and you could tell he was just playing free and not thinking too much. So it's a big opportunity for him, but for all the young guys, Klingon, Avdia, to play in bigger games, bigger moments, and to get that experience that you need to be able to become a successful playoff team, well, these are those games. And tomorrow will be a great example. You're on the road against a team that's playing good basketball. How do you go in there, and can you duplicate some of the things we saw yesterday against Washington? Your defensive effort to start the game, which was good, and limiting the turnovers. And I want to see how well they embrace that challenge. So we'll see. Tough matchup the Clippers are for the Blazers. But it's a great opportunity for Portland to go down there and make something happen. Avdia was also highly productive. I think he had 20 points, 9 boards, 5 assists. He's back to being his usual self, which is pushing the tempo and attacking the basket with reckless abandon. And there's nothing I don't love about Denny Avdia. It's awesome. And Donovan Klingon, rim protection, rebounding, they need that. But the issues that we've talked about, limiting turnovers is number one. Staying connected on defense, offensive rebounding, making free throws, which has been an issue. And they've got to make sure their mindset and how they start games are important. What they don't want tomorrow is to come out in the first quarter, have issues holding onto the basketball, and before you know it, you're down double digits. You don't want to be working from behind tomorrow night against the Clippers. You want to be from ahead and put the pressure on them. And we'll see how things shake out. But if Portland can go down there and get a win, it would wash away the sins from the Dallas game and put them in a good spot moving forward with only one other game this week. And then they can mentally prepare for the final week, which is going to be a mad dash with games at Denver, at San Antonio, home against the Clippers, 3 tough games, and you finish out against the Kings, who are terrible. And by the way, I think anytime the Wizards are on TV or playing your team, it should come with like a parental advisory or viewer discretion is advised. It looked like the Wizards showed up at like Clackamas Town Center like on Saturday and said, hey, can you come play for our team tomorrow? That's what my buddy Jason said, that it looked like they went to the mall and asked people to play for their team. Didn't know most of the guys on their team, and they stink to high heaven. What a disaster they are. Thank God I'm not a Wizards fan. Irrelevant basketball. Gross. That was hideous. And the Blazers smacked them accordingly by 35. All right, when we come back, we'll break down the Final Four. Former Prairie Falcon and Gonzaga Bulldog. Dan Dickow will join the Rip City Drive coming up next on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Seconds to go.
Got to cut and run through the ball. Who better than this guy?
Get it into Boozer, back for Sarr, ahead, Boozer, that ball deflected and stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds, Mullins tosses it up. Oh! It's good! With .3, UConn goes in front.
All right, our next guest is a former Portland Trailblazer, former Gonzaga Bulldog, and now a terrific college basketball analyst. My pleasure to welcome Dan Dickow back to the Rip City Drive. Dan, thanks for your time, my friend.
Absolutely, Chad. No better time of year, especially after that game ender last night, huh?
All right, in our lifetime, I was thinking about this morning. I still put Christian Laettner's shot heard around the world against Kentucky in '92 at number 1, but that one's got to be number 2. Where does that finish rank for you?
Probably the same. The only one, just because of my Gonzaga background, that Jalen Suggs half-court heave against UCLA would be up there as well.
Yes.
But those 3 were absolutely incredible.
All right, so why don't you walk me through, as a player and as an analyst, what was being said in both huddles for UConn and Duke before the final 10 seconds unfolded?
Well, if you look at it, right, because UConn's at the free throw line, so the thought process has to be, make sure we're matched up. We got plenty of time to go for a quick trap and or steal. If you don't get it, then at that point we're going to need to foul, where maybe there's 6 or 7 seconds on the clock, and then, you know, Duke goes down and makes some free throws, and then you still have a chance to tie it, depending on the made free throw situation. So that's kind of the conversation that UConn has. Duke's conversation should have been, look, because I believe they had a timeout, if I remember correctly. Go over how many timeouts you have. Make sure you come to the basketball on every possession or on every pass, and also understand the fact that you're in trouble. Pick your dribble up, chin it. Don't just chuck it. Essentially, and all those things kind of went wrong for Duke. I mean, they got the initial press break just fine. You know, I saw some, comments on social media, well, that was a terrible press break because this, that, and the other. It was actually a perfectly fine press break. It was just the fact that, Caden Boozer was in a hurry to make that pass. If he comes to a 2-foot quick stop, he can ball fake and deliver that pass, or he comes to a quick stop and he gets fouled. Instead, he tried to kind of, throw it on the run and throw it over the length, and was deflected.
Do you think that in that moment he saw his teammate flashing up court with no one around him and he thought, I could get the pass over top? Those things happen so quick, but he probably didn't even realize the defense had their arms extended at that point. He was just trying to get the ball up court. Yeah,
absolutely. Here's the thing is if those fingertips don't get on the ball, Duke gets a dunk and, game over. There's no chance for UConn. In that split second, you think you see something, you don't know spatially, where the defender might be, and you think you got it, and lo and behold, the defender makes a tremendous play.
We're talking to Dan Dickow, former Gonzaga Bulldog, here on the Rip City Drive. So I thought UConn did a really good job of just staying engaged. They were down by 19 and came back. They scored 20 points off of turnovers. Were you impressed with the way that Coach Hurley continued to keep his team engaged and continue to fight, scratch, and claw as that game went along? Because I thought Duke's first half was flawless.
Yeah, Duke played a great first half. And on the flip side, UConn didn't play a terrible first half, but they didn't play a great first half either. For as much as is said about, Danny Hurley and his demonstrative emotions on the sidelines, whatever you want to call it, his guys play their butts off for him. They understand the message that's being delivered. Some people in this day and age might not understand or appreciate or like the delivery, but there's a method to his madness. I think he's an unbelievable coach. And for him to, get his guys to continue to believe when they're down, 19, I think it was at one point in the first half, and then they start whittling it down. They start running better offense. They get some stops, and just kind of stay engaged in the game and understand and know it's a 40-minute game. So many times, you see it in the NBA, Chad, I'm sure, because you watch the Blazers so closely. 48-minute game in the NBA, a 20-point lead is nothing. Well, in college, with the advent of the three-point line and so many teams, relying on it, 20 points is not that much in a college game either. So understanding and getting your team to understand there's ebbs and flows in a game, and if you just stay with what's made you successful throughout the year, you're going to climb back into it and have a chance, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, no question about it. Did you ever have a coach or anyone that came close to being a little bit over the top like Coach Hurley?
No. My high school coach was pretty even keeled. I mean, he'd get on us, but in the right way. He held us to a pretty high standard. And then Bob Bender at UW, there was a couple times in practices and in the locker room at University of Washington where there'd be some profanity-laced tirades. I remember one time when I was at UW, I think it was my freshman year, we were at Oklahoma State, and this was maybe first 6 weeks of my college career. Comes in at halftime, and he just starts punching the locker room, just denting the metal lockers in Oklahoma State, hands bloody, just dripping down his hands. And, that's the only one where I can really think of, a coach kind of really – he didn't necessarily lose it, but he went after it pretty good. Yeah.
Well, if we look at that matchup in the Final Four, it's going to be UConn and Illinois Saturday at 3:09. That's the first game up. The Illini are a short favorite of 2.5. Well, what do you think about this matchup? Because, the Illini, it's really interesting, Dan, where they went through a stretch of the season where they were struggling defensively, and now all of a sudden they look like a lockdown team. They showed toughness, their defense is on point, and they got some guys down low who will battle. What do you think about this matchup?
I think it's going to be a great game. I think there's two phenomenal, Final Four matchups on Saturday. I mean, you talk about Illinois. Brad Underwood is a great example for a lot of young coaches that are maybe coaching at a lower level, JUCO or a D2. Like, there's as many good coaches at those levels as there are sometimes in head coaching positions at the Division I level. It's just they haven't gotten their opportunity. And, he was at Stephen F. Austin, and then he went to, I believe it was Oklahoma State before he went to Illinois. And, they play a really fun brand of basketball on the offensive end because they move the ball, they share it, they're great cutters. But defensively, you're right. That's kind of where their season kind of got revitalized, in Big Ten play, because with the size that they have, you're able to contest nearly every shot, and you're able to be in gaps or in passing lanes with a lot less effort than if you're 3-4 inches shorter at each possession. But, Keaton Wagler's been unbelievable as a freshman. He was like a 200th ranked recruit or something. There's really no expectations out of him. He's put together a great year. And then Peja Stojakovic's son, third school in 3 years. He's playing really good right now. He was tremendous last weekend.
Yeah, what's interesting about him, where his dad was like the classic catch and shoot guy in the NBA, but his son is someone that can put the ball on the floor and get at the rim. Different games.
Yeah, who he reminds me of is Casey Jacobson. Played at Stanford. Then
yes.
We were teammates for a short bit in the NBA. Like, Casey's reputation coming out was that he was a shooter, and I thought it was the same. But once we became teammates, yeah, he could shoot it, but he was only taking wide open threes. He was more of a put your head down, get to the paint, create contact, get fouled guy, and that's the comp that I see for Stojakovic.
That's interesting. Dan Dickhouse here on the Rip City Drive. In the other game, you got the two powerhouses, Michigan and Arizona. The Wildcats are interesting, Dan, because they've got size like Illinois, and they don't have to shoot the three, but they've got that in their bag if they need it. And then Michigan's been one of the most dominant teams throughout the course of the season. What do you think about this one?
It's going to be a classic right here. I honestly wish this was the title game. Obviously, how brackets, come together. Everyone always has, I wish this matchup could happen later in the tournament. Well, this is the one for me. I would love to see this as the championship game. Michigan, they've been dominant from November. I mean, what they did in the Players era in Vegas was ridiculous. They beat, San Diego State, Gonzaga, and somebody else. I think it was Alabama, each team by 30 or more, or it was Auburn. And, they just kind of put a statement out there early. And I think they've got 2, maybe 3 losses on the year. But when you're in such a difficult conference like the Big Ten and you have a B game instead of an A game on the road, maybe you got a chance to drop one. But their size, we talked about Illinois size, the interior size of Michigan's ridiculous. I mean, 7'3" with Mara, Merez Johnson, Lindborg, 6'10" and agile. And the question mark I have, I'm not a big Elliot Cadeau fan.
Yeah.
So if he can have a big game, I think they're going to have a chance. But in all honesty, I'm pulling for Arizona. Tommy Lloyd's my guy. I know a lot of Gonzaga fans are going to be, I want Coach Few to win one first. And absolutely I want Coach Few to win one first, but that's not the case. That's not the scenario now. There's no way I'm going to root against Tommy this weekend. I want to see him get that win.
Have you had the opportunity to see Michigan in person this year, Dan?
I have not, no.
Interesting. Yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, if you had to take a guess, who do you think is going to wind up in the title game? So Arizona against, who do you think wins between UConn and Illinois?
I think UConn. There's just something about Danny Hurley's teams that figure it out. One, because he's a great coach, but 2, you got a guy like Alex Caravan on your team right now. I mean, he's kind of that ultimate glue guy. When a couple of the other guys, Klingon left to the NBA and Stephon Castle left to the NBA, everyone was kind of thinking okay, now it's Caravan's team. Well, he's not that kind of guy that you're going to go out and rely on for 18 to 20 points. You put talent around him, again, they have this year, and you allow him to play to his strengths and his roles, and that's just being a great screener, great cutter, expect, 13 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, whatever it is. You get a guy like that that just does whatever it takes to win, you're going to have chances to go deep in the tournament. What I didn't realize, and it makes a lot of sense now when you think about it, he's got a chance to be, I think, the all-time leading wins leader in NCAA tournament history if they win. Duke with Christian Laettner and Bobby Hurley, I think, are the top 2. But it would be amazing. I mean, he's been in 3 Final Fours. If they get to the championship game, there would be 3 national title appearances in 4 years. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. What's interesting about UConn? They don't have the big stars like some of these other teams in the Final Four. They're just a good team. They function really well. That you can tell there's cohesiveness there. That's what jumps out to me. Yeah,
and it's there's a toughness factor to UConn basketball. I called a UConn game a couple of years ago and had a chance to obviously prep for the game and sit at shoot-around and watch Danny Hurley up close and talk for 15, 20 minutes after shoot-around. He holds those guys to an incredibly high standard, even in shoot-around.
Yeah.
And he's not riding the guys, but he's getting them to do everything they need to do to understand what the task at hand is in shoot-around. So then later that night, they know how to take advantage of opportunities that come their way. And it's something that, for athletes, you can't just flip the switch, right? Or you shouldn't think that you can flip the switch. You got to constantly be, preparing so that, you're never having to, quote, get ready. You're always ready to go. And I think that's one of the things about this UConn team. They've had some losses. The couple losses to St. John's clearly come to mind. But, it's not for lack of being ready. Sometimes losses are lack of made shots.
Huh. I've got 2 more questions for you. I wanted to go back to a couple of nights ago with Nebraska and Iowa. There was that situation late in the game where Iowa wound up with Nebraska wound up with 4 guys on the floor after a timeout, and Iowa got an easy jam, and they ended up winning the game. Can you explain to me in a timeout how that situation works on the bench? Do you have a whiteboard where the players who are going to be in are written up on the board? Are the assistants communicating that? How does that happen?
To be honest, I don't know how that happens to go out on the floor with four guys. I don't. You know, but you mentioned, you know, an assistant and or a whiteboard kind of, you know, Fred Hoiberg kind of took the fall for his whole staff. And, and, you know, that's what a great
I respected that.
Head coach is going to do. Yeah. You know, but clearly something, you know, because every fall when coaching staffs are putting together all of their early practice plans, you know, just overview for the season, they go over roles of everything. Like nowadays with the challenge, okay, who's the video coordinator or the assistant coach sitting with the iPad that truly is the definitive one to tell the head coach to signal challenge? Who's in charge of the whiteboard at a timeout like you talked about, making sure we have our matchups? So clearly something was missed in that. Give him a lot of credit for kind of owning up to it and taking it. But I have never seen that before. I've seen 6, and clearly that would be a technical foul. Quite frankly, I would have been, you know, more impressed if 6 Nebraska guys went out there because 6 guys wanted to be on the floor.
I know, me too. At least you're trying to find a way to get an edge there. One other question for you. You know, there was a lot of talk about this, especially in the early rounds with NIL and the impact on the game of college basketball. What was your overall take after you seeing the tournament, and now that we're at the Final Four, on the impact of the NIL? Are we now going to see less Cinderella stories, or are the Cinderella stories going to become teams like Iowa, the teams kind of in the middle of a major conference? How do you see it?
Well, I think, unfortunately, I think it's going to be more difficult for the true Cinderella stories to occur, you know, because you got to catch lightning in a bottle with your play, but you also have to, before you catch it, you got to have the support staff of, you know, your athletic department and probable boosters and donors to have the money to be able to put together a roster that could do something special. You know, I know some people were trying to call Texas, of all schools, and Iowa, you know, Cinderellas. And the fact you're in 2 of the major conferences, I don't think you could ever call them a Cinderella. I think I heard somewhere today, Texas athletic department budget is $375 million. So there's no calling that a Cinderella. But the interesting point where I was going with that was what you might start seeing in some of these power conferences, maybe that know they have absolutely no shot at football, right? Mm-hmm. They might allocate more of their funds to basketball, thinking like, hey, we've got a truly great coach here. We think the recruiting pipeline is going to be able to fall in our favor. We're going to allocate more of our percentage coming into basketball, and you might see some of the lesser known basketball programs from the major conferences make a run at it in a different way than a lot of people were initially thinking about it.
Interesting. Oh, by the way, one other question just to settle a little conversation I was having. Justin Ballinger, he's the sportsbook manager at Spirit Mountain Casino. He went to Gonzaga. He loves the Zags. He wanted to make sure I told you that you're awesome. He's a big fan of yours. But we were talking, and, you know, you take John Stockton out of it because that was before Gonzaga became kind of this preeminent tournament team. But who's like the face of Gonzaga basketball during this resurgence of the program? Would it be Suggs? Would it be Santangelo? Is it you? Like, who do you look at as kind of the guy that kind of fits that you know, at the top of the order of all the guys who have come through?
Yeah, that's a difficult one because I look at it in a couple different kind of stretches, right? I look at that Santangelo Fromm group as the originators.
Yes.
You know, myself in the 2 years I played, we were the guys that made sure it didn't go down.
Yep.
And we kept ascending. And then Adam Morrison, you know, really kind of got the national limelight on the program because he was National Player of the Year with J.J. Redick. Kelly Olynyk was the first team that was ranked number 1 in the country. You know, but I think any of those guys, but then, you know, it's DeMontis Sabonis is hard to go against.
Yes.
Shemet Karnowski, maybe he didn't have the pro career, but just how good he was for so long and the teams that he was on. You know, you're kind of getting me kind of reminiscent about how many good players have gone through
a ton.
There. You know, yeah, it's amazing. I think behind Kentucky, Duke, Kansas, I believe there's the most NBA players right now that are currently from Gonzaga.
That's awesome.
You know, you could throw Drew Timmy's name in that mix. just because of what he did for 4 years.
Ultra productive.
So, yeah, I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Have you seen the documentary on Gonzaga yet?
I have, yeah. So there was a premiere of it up in Spokane a couple days before.
Sweet.
It was released on that Tubi platform. So I took my sons there, and there was a couple hundred people, former players, current players, a lot of people that are very well connected to the program. It was a really cool event, and I thought the producer did a great job with that
Me too.
documentary. It was really good.
Yeah, I was wondering what you thought. How old are your kids now, Dan?
Well, my second oldest son, he's sitting next to me in the car. I'm about to drop him off at baseball. He's 13. And then our older boy is 20.
Wow.
He'll be playing basketball at Spokane Community College next year. And then of our girls, our oldest is 21, if you can believe that one.
That's amazing. Hey, Dan, I appreciate your time, buddy. I love your insight, and I know you love the tournament as much as anyone. So enjoy the Final Four, and I'll catch up with you, buddy.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
There you go. There's Dan Dickau, Gonzaga, former Gonzaga great, former Portland Trailblazer, Prairie Falcon, and just an all-around good dude. He pleads the fifth on who is the face of Gonzaga basketball. He did say it would be hard to go against Baby Sabonis, though. All right, 503-248-0620. Cale Wambacher, general manager for the Hops, coming up at 5:20. And coming up at 6 o'clock, Chris Burkhart will have Courtside Monday here on the home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, big thanks to Dan Dickow. And what? Screw Dan Dickow. He used to destroy competition at Green Meadows Athletic Club in Vancouver. We used to go play pickup hoops after school over at Green Meadows in Vancouver. Dickow would be there, and if you were playing against him, he would annihilate you. So fast, so sharp, and very good from the outside. And I wasn't fast enough. He'd blow by me. He'd pull up in my face. He was just awesome. Awesome. There are certain guys you grew up with. You're like, okay, that guy's different. The two guys that I grew up with that were just different were Dan Dickow and Richie Sexton, who went on to have 300 career home runs. Those guys were different. Richie Sexton was annoyingly good at all sports, football, basketball. But the first time I saw him swing a bat, I was like, oh, he's better at that than he is everything else. It was just right away. It's like that bat speed. Ain't no one around here's got that, but he does. But Dan Dickow's awesome. So there you have it. He thinks UConn, and he's pulling for Arizona. That Michigan-Arizona game is going to be terrific. All right, telephone number 503-424. What is the phone number here? 503-248-0620. I have to say it with a certain cadence and rhythm or I forget the numbers. You can reach out to me on the Rip City Radio text line at 88528. 503-248-0620. Blazers in action tomorrow. Biggest game of the year thus far against the Clippers. And we'll see if they can get the job done. Again, I'm just being very honest. If they hope to be the 8th seed, they're going to have to win 2 games against the Clippers. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think the Blazers are good enough. Just look at the way the Blazers have played over the last, month plus. It's been a long time since they played dynamic basketball. And yeah, they had 3 wins by 30 or more this week, but it was against the Bucks, the Nets, and the Wizards. Horrible teams. Horrific teams. The Wizards are an embarrassment. They should not be allowed on television. People should not have to pay to watch them play basketball. The Washington Wizards should be contracted immediately. That was a shameful performance they put up yesterday. The Blazers clobbered them. They used a 22-2 run to put the game away in the third, and then they opened up the fourth on a 14-0 run. 22-2. Game over. But that's what you get from the Wizards. How does someone become a Wizards fan? The Bullets, I understand back in the day, they had some guys that were pretty sweet, but man, the Wizards. And it's hard to imagine. I can't believe Michael Jordan stooped to such levels to put on a Wizards jersey. That's embarrassing, too. The Wizards are awful. That's a bad basketball team, and they're headed for one thing. That would be the lottery. So we'll see how things shake out tomorrow night. I watched the majority of that Denver-Golden State game last night. The Nuggets are annoying because they have the best offense in the league. Jokic is the best player in the NBA, and they can annihilate you, especially when they're making their shots like they were in the second half. But I just don't think that defensively they have enough to get the job done. And I know we've had a different NBA champion over the last 7 years. I still find it hard to believe that someone's going to beat Oklahoma City this year in a 7-game series. I don't think the Spurs can do it. The Lakers, just like the Nuggets, their defense is going to cost them. I don't care about the streak or how they've been playing good basketball of late. Luka's been awesome. But come playoff time, when teams zero in and they're trying to identify your weaknesses, you're going to get beat. That's how that goes down. That's pretty much how that's going to go down. You won't be able to get over the hump. So Oklahoma City, and in the Eastern Conference, I think it's really between 3 teams. But if Cade Cunningham doesn't come back, it's really between 2 teams, Boston and the New York Knicks. So right now I say Boston and New York with no Cade Cunningham. And the other 2 teams that are kind of unknowns at this point, Cleveland, who's been kind of in a funk, and the Detroit Pistons. Pistons have been the best team in the East all year, but, when's Cade coming back? But I think Oklahoma City's still the team to beat. But we'll see. Will this be the 8th year where we have a different championship? But I just think the Thunder, when they lock in, because they can get it done on both ends. All of these other teams have flaws. Maybe not San Antonio. But they have no playoff experience. So I don't buy San Antonio being able to get over on Oklahoma City in a 7-game, series. And I know the Lakers can't do it because they're not good enough defensively, like the Nuggets. And the Rockets, good defensively, but they're not a smart basketball team. And they don't look like they're well-connected as a group. And I don't trust them in the half court. And Kevin Durant, is terrific, but I'm not sure his teammates like him either because of the way he throws him under the bus with his burner accounts. All right, I'm going to try and convince Chris Burkhardt to join me for a few minutes next, and then Cale Wambacher will talk about the grand opening of the brand new ballpark, which is a week from tomorrow. I'll be out there with the Rip City Drive. So Cale at 5:20. Tomorrow at 5, we'll have Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday. All you have to do is listen to me for your chance to win. You got the Rip City Drive on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. right, it's now 5 o'clock. What's up, my friends? Chad here. We start with the Final Four, which kicks off on Saturday at 3:09. Illinois and UConn. Illini favored by 2.5. Michigan and Arizona will follow. The Wolverines right now a 1.5-point favorite in the showdown between the two number one seeds. The Blazers got a 35-point win yesterday against the Wizards. They're now back at 500. They'll play their biggest game of the year tomorrow in LA against the Clippers. Game day with Chris Burkhardt at 6, tip-off at 8, Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday at 5. And it was unanimous. The NBA Board of Governors voted to confirm Tom Dundon is the new owner of the Trailblazers. And make sure you join me on Saturday. I'll be at Spirit Mountain Casino from the BetMGM Sportsbook from noon until 3. And we'll take in the Final Four, parlays, teasers, totals, anything you could possibly want. I'll have giveaways, food and drink specials, 18 LED screens, and a big screen at 165 inches to watch all the action. All right, Chris Burkhardt is joining me now. We're going to head to the phones, 503-248-0620. Brendan, I sent you a text, so check out your phone, my friend. Chris Burkhardt is here, and Kale Wambacher, general manager for the Hops, going to join me in 20 minutes. We'll preview the upcoming season for the Hops, which will kick off on Friday, and then the grand opening of their awesome ballpark a week from tomorrow. I'll be out there for that. John Sakanik is going to join me for a Catch 365. Did I tell you about that? Are you aware of what John Sakanik is doing?
Yeah,
Burkhardt?
you told me about that. I'm a little jealous. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, we're going to play catch on the field before the game, probably before the show. But I said, hey, you should come out. We'll do a Catch 365. He's like, I'm in.
Nice.
So that ballpark, I have not been in it. You saw it before it was finished, and you said it looked awesome. I've driven by recently on 26 and saw it. I was like, oh, this is nice. It's going to be good.
It's going to be real nice. And when you talk to Kale about it here in a little bit, like I remember when we were doing the tours, I asked him about it and how they plan to build it in such a way that if Major League Baseball ever came calling and said, hey, we want you to be a AAA team now, that they can take a summer and add on to it and make it beautiful. But it's going to be one of the best. It's not going to be one of the best single A stadiums in baseball. It's going to be one of the best minor league stadiums, bar none.
That's great. All right, let's go out to the phones. Charlie in Vancouver wants to chime in. Charlie, what's up, my friend? What's on your mind?
First of all, great interview with Dan. He's probably the most humble human being in the world. What I noticed when he was 12, 13 years old, I was working at Green Meadows as the junior supervisor up there, sitting at the second floor.
Yeah.
And, most guys like to play and play and play and play. What separated Dan from everybody else, he had such a love and passion for the game that he would just be in that gym all day by himself and working on stuff that he knew was going to be significant for him being a better basketball player, not just looking better than the other guy next to him overplaying against the old men, as a kid. Instead, he chose the right route. Unbelievable. Now, I don't know if you know this, Chad, but I had a bad basketball team in the mid-2000s out at Washougal School, the girls' basketball team, and we blew up our offense in the middle of the year, started and said we're going to start shooting 30, 43 a game. We went all Paul Westhead, just did hit what he did, and I feel bad because now everybody's like that, and what I'm wondering is, do you think when you see teams like Arizona and Michigan valuing the post position and getting the ball inside out, especially Arizona, they lead the nation in free throws. The one thing that the metrics of 3 points for a three-pointer and 2 points for a two-pointer don't take into effect is that when you're getting two-pointers going to the hole in the post, you're getting foul shots. And then you're getting to the foul line, 2 free throws every time in the double bonus, getting the other team's best players in foul trouble, which just doesn't happen with 3-point shooting and moving the basketball, the norm of 95% of the teams now. Love seeing Arizona, Michigan doing it the way they're doing. Wondering if it might become a little bit more of a trend. I'd love to see it so that basketball isn't all the same like it is shooting 3-pointers.
Hey, that's a good phone call. I appreciate it, Charlie. Chris, I would think that, especially in college basketball, if you have access to the type of talent that Arizona and Michigan have with that type of size, then I think it's a good idea. Are you messing with the buttons over there? You break the box?
Well, there it goes. Maybe Brendan has to do it. It wouldn't turn on. Every time I hit the on button, it just set off. But we're here.
First, it was Justin Myers always breaking the mic stand in the studio. Now you're over there busting the box. Can't even turn on the mic anymore.
Bad. We're good, though.
But no, I mean, Arizona and Michigan are big, and they utilize their size inside out, but they also have the talent to be able to do that. Those type of guys don't grow on trees. That's the problem. I love inside-out game.
No, they don't. And I as well love the inside-out game. And I think all it takes really is you get one guy to come through who is a generational type big, who has that old school mentality with their back to the basket. And if that guy's going to be a top 5 pick, I think that kind of can change the game a little bit. Boozer's kind of a guy who likes to bruise a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a guy like Shaq coming through the draft right now, guess what? Centers would start creeping back into the paint.
That's true. What'd you think about this?
Seconds to go. Got to cut and run through the ball. And who better than this guy?
Get it into Boozer, back for Sarr, ahead, Boozer, that ball deflected and stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds, Mullins tosses it out. Oh! It's good! We're point 3! UConn goes in front!
That was so awesome.
That's March. That's why you have this tournament and it's one and done. And I mean, you could just have anything can change a game, and Duke dominated most of that game, and then you get that steal and that 3, and that was a deep 3 too. I think my favorite part about that shot though is like he took it from the logo, but you check his body language. He thought it was in the minute he let that thing go, and it was pure.
So good, and he didn't hesitate at all. It was a great job to kick the ball out, and as the trailer, he was open again, and it was a great pass. That was really heady basketball with just seconds on the clock, and they got a good look.
Yeah, they couldn't fail. Once you got that deflection, you got the possession, you were up against it. It had to be a perfect execution, and it was.
Yeah, so good. I love it, man. You got to love those type of finishes in college basketball. And I put that, I don't know if you're old enough were you old enough to be around for the Leitner buzzer beater against Kentucky?
I wasn't old enough to remember it, but it's obviously one of those things that as a basketball junkie, So yeah, I know it.
Leitner number 1, that shot number 2 in terms of finishes I've seen in the tournament. That's how good that was in my lifetime. That was right up there near the top.
But it's because of Leitner too that with 0.4 seconds left, you're like, if they end on this perfectly, it's just the perfect tip in. It could happen.
Yeah, because it was originally I think 0.3, then they switched it to 0.4. I was like, okay, they got time.
They got time. If it's a perfect pass, a little tip in, might get it. But
oh my goodness! All right, so Clippers tomorrow. The way I look at it now, with 6 games to play, if the Blazers are going to jump to 8, they got to win both games.
They have to. They absolutely have to. That game against Dallas just absolutely hurts them. And you look at what the Clippers have in the remaining schedule, it's basically similar to Portland, where there's a couple tough games in there, but for the most part, it's a pretty easy schedule the rest of the way. So Portland needs to take advantage and try to grab these games.
I don't see them beating the Clippers twice. It's a tough matchup for them. What do you think? Can they get the job done tomorrow?
I think it's one of the. I think they grab one of them, and ideally you want it to be tomorrow because then it still gives you a little more focus.
Yeah.
The rest of the way, but I do think they can grab one of them. But you're right; it's a matchup nightmare, especially when you got a healthy Kawhi and the additions they made. Kudos to them because quite honestly, when they traded Zubac and Harden, I was like, this is weird. But the guys they brought in now that Garland's playing, and Ben Mathurin was one of my favorite players in that draft, and he's a good fit. But when you got Kawhi out there and he's healthy and he's a full go, you and I were talking about it in the elevator the other day. Like, he's one of the best in the league. Absolutely, both sides of the ball. He's a legit star, and they just got so much length everywhere that they give Portland problems.
The only knock on Kawhi is availability.
Yeah.
When he's playing and engaged, he's right up there near the top of the league in terms of best players.
Yeah, and you brought it up too. This is the thing. The Clippers are not your prototypical play-in team, because the starting the year with 15 losses and playing just terrible basketball, and then all of a sudden riding the ship, like over basically since the turn of the calendar of 2026, they've absolutely been one of the best teams in all of basketball. They have completely changed their outlook on the season by playing great. And so, yeah, they're not a normal play-in team by any stretch.
No, they're not. And that's why when you look at their overall record, you cannot look at them and think, well, they're a play-in team. They're not. Because right now the Clippers, they sit number 8 in the West. They're 39-36. But if you go inside their schedule, let's see here. They started the season out at 6-21. So they're 33-15 since that point. That's pretty good.
Yeah, think about that. 6-21. Most teams at that point, you're
Are
like,
done.
yeah, your season's done.
Yeah, not the Clippers.
When you talk about all this whole let's tank it, and I mean that when you start 6-21, you could have been like, all right, we're gonna mail this in the rest of the way. But to turn that thing around and be firmly in control of whether you get the 8 seed or not, and very realistically go into the playoffs as playing hot basketball, that's a great season and a great job by Ty Lue and co.
All right, Tom Dundon was confirmed today by the NBA governors. He is now the man in charge with the Portland Trail Blazers. What are you most excited about as a fan with the ownership change?
I'm just excited to get a new look on it. I mean, Paul Allen was absolutely phenomenal. We all love him. And then Jody Allen, people want to knock on her, but I will mention it multiple times, is she got this job in the most unenviable of circumstances, right? Like her brother passed away, and these two teams fell into her lap, and she had to navigate those waters. And now you get a guy in there who has a history of winning. I mean, you look at what he did with Carolina. He turned around one of the worst run franchises in the NHL and made them a winner and a contender every single year. So for me, you look at how long Paul Allen was the owner of this team and then his sister taking over. I'm just excited for a new approach and new eyes on this thing, because it might be something that Portland fans aren't used to in a good way.
Yeah, and from what I've read, he's very competitive. He's going to be real aggressive. He wants to win, and he's all about putting money into his teams, his players, which is good. Do you want to win? Are you willing to spend whatever it takes to make that happen? That's a good thing. Also, based on his track record with the Hurricanes, he did go through some great links to improve fan experience in terms of, having some cheaper items, concession-wise, ticket-wise. So it seems like he wants to create a good product that's entertaining, that's fan-friendly. That's a good thing.
You have to. You absolutely have to. Bring people into the building, and then, you're going to get your sales on merchandise and concessions, and you don't have to break the bank on those things. Like, yeah, you understand there's going to be a little bit of a markup, but guess what? Even if you don't mark them up, you're still making money off those things at the end of the day. You don't got to be greedy, and you're going to make your money, man.
All right, let's take a listen to this one.
In situations like this is try for the quick pass to half court and call a quick timeout so they can get in better shooting range.
There's the pass to Leitner. Puts it up. Yes!
So good, man. I love finishes like that in college basketball.
Every time you get a crazy finish or a good call or these, like I said, these moments that March are made out of, it's always phenomenal, man. It's always good.
Did you see the video floating around on social? Not of the actual shot and the play, but it was a video that was focused on Grant Hill and Bill Rafferty.
Yes.
And their reaction.
Yes.
They couldn't believe it. Rafferty was like taken back by it.
It's like the one that makes the rounds all the time now, but like Joe Rogan, when there's like that knockout in the UFC, and he's like, and he's holding everybody.
I saw that one again last night, too. It was great. His eyes were about to pop out of his head.
Yeah. Is Travis listening? Because take note. More announcers and play-by-play guys need the camera on them at all times to get those candid reactions.
All right. Chris Burkhart's got game day coming up. Or not game day, but Courtside Monday at 6 o'clock. You'll get everyone ready for the Clipper game, won't you?
Heck yes, we will.
All right, Chris Burkhart's got Courtside Monday coming up at 6. We'll talk with Cale Wambacher, general manager for the Hops, next on the Rip City Drive. All right, what a great time it is. The Hillsboro Hops are preparing to kick off their season. It will happen on Friday down in Eugene with a first pitch at 6:35. The pregame will start at 6:20 here on your home of the Hops, Rip City Radio 620. But most importantly, April 7th, 6:35, first pitch against Spokane, opening day in the brand new ballpark. And joining us to talk about it is their general manager, Cale Wambacher. Cale, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, Chad. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Oh, there's so many great things going on right now with March Madness and the end of the basketball season and, of course, the start of baseball, which is awesome. But let me ask you, how excited are you with everything you've gone through over the last few years to get all the things that were necessary to get the new ballpark and know you're going to be opening up here a week from tomorrow? That's got to be thrilling for you.
Yeah, thrilling indeed. I mean, it's hard to believe it's actually happening. We had a fan fest on Saturday and had thousands of people come through here, and just seeing the joy on everyone's faces and watching them enjoy the new venue and talk about how much they liked it. It was very energizing for us. So now we're just fine tuning things and getting ready for the 7th.
So what was some of the reactions you got from people when they were seeing it completed and as beautiful as it is for the first time? Like, what was some of the feedback you got?
Well, we had our video crew capturing a lot of the feedback and interviewing fans, and they said the word that was most used was "wow," which that was what we were going after. So it was great to hear that feedback. But our ballpark before was a nice facility. It was fun, but this one was the opportunity to just try to blow people away. So instead of someone saying, "Oh, it's nice, it's fun," we wanted people to say, "Wow, this is incredible." And we were able to get that feedback on Saturday.
That's going to be terrific. I can't wait until we have a chance to see it. Are you sold out for opening night on the 7th?
No, not yet. So still tickets available for opening night.
That's great. All right, you can go to hillsborohops.com and check it out. I can't wait to see the new ballpark myself. I'll be out there to broadcast on the 7th for the park. But, what about the people that you worked with and all the different people that worked with, the legislator that worked on your behalf, your entire team? Like, what do they think now? Because they were a part of the process to make it happen. What do they think when they see the park and they have a chance to talk to you?
I think there's a level of pride that's hard to describe when it comes to. I mean, there was a lot of people that helped on this project. Chris Oxley, who former Trailblazer executive, was kind of a key owner's rep for us and helped out a lot on the legislative side. John Eames is our lobbyist who helped get the state bill over the deal. I just talked to John today. Senator Solomon was definitely the biggest champion, along with Representative Ben Bowman. They were really the kind of the bulldogs at the state level. And then Raheem Harji, who's the assistant city manager, and Robbie Hammond, who's the city manager. Those guys, I mean, they saw the vision from day one, and they just figured out how to make it happen on the city side. County Commission was involved as well, along with Exports Walton Valley. I mean, it was true public-private partnership, and definitely wouldn't have happened without the bold investment by our ownership. I mean, we're taking on $110 million worth of debt, and not a lot of sports teams are willing to take that kind of risk and make that kind of an investment. But we believe that the best venues bring the best events, and we think we've got one of the best venues in the country now.
I absolutely agree with that. Now, if you have people who want to check out the new ballpark, let's say they don't have tickets yet, what is the best way to go about it? I know that there's not a bad seat in the house, but where would you recommend starting to get a feel for the ballpark to know where you might want to buy your ticket package?
Yeah, there's a lot of cool. I mean, there's almost kind of some different neighborhoods to the ballpark. We've got a berm that we had next door, so an $8 ticket to sit on a berm. There's a kids play area that's being built right now that's just behind that. That's the Hillsborough Medical Center Family Zone. We've got the Breakside Bullpen, which is just about finished construction in left field, so kind of a hangout area where we'll have 20 beers on tap, full cocktail service, right on the left field wall, so kind of a cool experience looking back in towards the venue. And our premium experience in Meridian, a 9,000 square foot club lounge called Meridian, all-inclusive food, beverage, craft beer, Oregon wine. If you want that premium experience, Meridian's going to be tough to beat.
You know, the club experience, I've sat in the club level at a couple of different ballparks. It's my favorite experience. But I think you told me that when you were getting feedback on what needed to be in the new stadium, wasn't the majority of feedback that club level would be the better option than suites?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, suites tested terrible. So we did probably 3 or 4 different fan surveys and even community-wide surveys, and club seats tested through the roof where suites did not.
That's great. Yeah, that's awesome.
That was the direction we went.
Well, that's going to be great with the club level, too, like to be able to sit and have the comfortable seating to watch the game, but also to have access to the different food and beverage options. Like, for me, I think that's awesome.
Yeah. We've got an incredible culinary team. I mean, led by Chef Lindsay, who spent many years at Disney for a while and was most recently at OMSI. We hired him last year, and so he leads our culinary team, does a fantastic job. But those guys didn't have a full kitchen next door. It was amazing the quality they could do with a lack of infrastructure. Now they've got 3 full kitchens on the concourse level and a 3,000 square foot catering kitchen on the service level. So no excuses when it comes to infrastructure now. We've got to deliver on our promises of having the best food around. Yeah,
that's part of the deal. You got to execute and make sure you deliver on everything you promise, which is great. We're talking with Cale Wambacher, the general manager for the Hops. What are some of the different promotions and events that are coming up in the new ballpark this year that you're excited about?
We will have our first concert announcement here in a couple of weeks. So that's been a little more challenging to get that first one booked than we thought. But
why is that?
A lot of I think there's just not a lot of minor league ballparks that host concerts. So when an artist is touring and they have a chance to play in an amphitheater or a ballpark, I think they're just hitting the easy button and taking what they know. And once we get a show and are able to deliver it and word of mouth gets out that this is going to be an unbelievable concert experience, we just need that first case study to break through. So we'll be able to have that one this summer and hopefully get maybe another show or two, and then we can blow it open next year. But the Beavers Ducks game is going to be a big one too.
Huge.
We've tried to get that event in the past and haven't been able to get it lined up. But once we got the new ballpark, both Beavers and Ducks are excited to play here. They're both really good. And that game sold out in like 45 minutes. So the demand was sky high. I mean, the demand was higher than anything we've ever done. And then we've got RFP out for Savannah Bananas for 2027 too.
Oh yeah,
the RFP for that group. Again, best ballparks draw the best events. So now that we've got the best ballpark, we've got to go and secure some of those big time events.
Now for concerts, obviously how the layout's going to look for shows, but on an acoustic level with the design of the ballpark and stuff, how's it going to set up for a show?
We think it'll do really well. I mean, it's naturally an amphitheater from a shape standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
The materials with the concrete and steel and stuff like that, we'll see. But there's been pretty good feedback with Providence Park and the concert experience there. So it's not the first time it's been in a sports stadium. They do these all over the country in major stadiums and minor league stadiums. So most of the time, the experience is great. I mean, my family, we saw Morgan Wallen at Lumen Field last year, and it was great. It was fantastic. I think there's just something about outdoor concerts in the summer. You almost don't care if the sound is good or bad. I mean, it's got to be good, but you're taking everything in that there's just a lot of elements that go to making that experience a good one.
Yeah, no doubt. I took my daughter and her friend up to see The Weeknd up at Lumen Field last summer, and just being outdoors with the fresh air and stuff, it was phenomenal. And I like outdoor concerts myself, but do artists, do you know if they prefer indoor or outdoor? Or do they?
That's a good question. I mean, we're still getting our feet wet in this business, but I mean, Bend. I think Ben last year had like 40 or 50 shows. For a couple of years, they got 40 or 50 shows. So, huge. I mean, it says the demand's there, and when you get to the summer, you definitely want to be indoors, especially in the Pacific Northwest.
With the new ballpark, one thing you've always told me, even before the new ballpark, was just the city of Hillsborough and how hospitable it was with the area and how nice it was for the players when they would come in. But now, like in terms of development of your players when they arrive with your new facilities, like how much better is that going to be for you on the baseball side?
Yeah, a light years better. Our trainer and strength coach showed up today to start getting things prepped for the team coming in the next couple of days. And I mean, they just couldn't believe it. They were absolutely blown away. And our trainer was here last year, so she was aware of the project and had walked through it with a hard hat at the end of the season, and still she was just absolutely blown away. So it was cool to get their reaction. I mean, having a weight room, having the indoor batting cages that we have. Our batting cages are the best I've seen in any baseball stadium, including Major League Stadium I've toured. Just the lighting, the layout, just how spacious they are, how we did the clubhouse. I mean, the clubhouse is definitely a Major League clubhouse from a look and feel and quality standpoint. Yeah. So we're excited. We're actually going to do a reveal with players at 11 a.m. on Wednesday.
Awesome.
So we're locking the clubhouse as they trickle in and doing one grand reveal with them on Wednesday, which will be cool.
Like they're going to be blown away. Like for some of these guys, based on where they've played in their pathway, like they're literally they're not going to believe what they're seeing and where they get a chance to play baseball. That's cool. They'll take pride in it.
Yeah, they will. They will. And, I think one of the goals too was we would love to get more Major League rehabs get assigned to Hillsborough and get that reputation that if there's a guy that needs to get some games in the minor leagues, his first reaction is, I want to rehab in Hillsborough. It's super nice there, great facilities, great people. So I think that would be super cool too to get some of those rehabs come down here.
But can that happen? Like I don't know how this works, but like if players, if they're going through a rehab, and because of your facilities and the way you do business here, if they want to come here, will Hillsborough get preference because of what you've set up?
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
We've had a few here and there in the past. Carson Kelly, of course, being from here, he chose to rehab here. Advocated to rehab here. I mean, a lot of times, the major leaguers, like they don't, I mean, it's good to play against AAA talent because the pitchers have a little more control and, it's just a more controlled environment. But at the end of the day, they're just trying to get some reps in. Yeah. So it'll certainly come down to what player it is, what position they play, what reps they can get, whether we're home or on the road, a lot of factors, obviously, but definitely I think we could see a lot more big leaguers coming through here.
So what park, like, because you guys are now the spot for minor league baseball in terms of, because you got a major league facility. What is there anyone else in the minors that would compare to what you guys offer now in Hillsborough with your new park?
We went and toured. I mean, we toured probably 20 sports stadiums, major league, minor league, and we toured the best and newest minor league facilities. And we feel like for the most part, ours is nicer than all the ones we toured. Some of them are a little bigger. They have more outfield development or something like that. But if you go foul pole to foul pole, I don't think anyone's better than us.
That's awesome. I just got a text message from a gentleman who is a musician that I respect a great deal. He says, outdoors for summer shows, but you lose control over the weather. If it's windy, it can really affect the sound and lighting. Fog won't stay, so it won't pick up the beams. Indoors gives you more overall control, but assuming good conditions after 3 decades of playing shows, outdoors is better, especially important where you can't for 70% of the year. So there you go. People here in the Northwest during the summertime, Cale, we want to get outdoors and enjoy the weather while we got it.
Yeah, exactly. We're locked indoors for like 4 or 5 months, so let us out.
That's great. So overall, like when you look at the park now, like what about it are you most proud of when you look at it?
Overall, what I'm most proud of is the attention to detail that went into the design. And I think that's what started creating the wow factor with people on Saturday. The way the LED was designed, the seating bowl, we did different colors of chairs. Everything has 36 inches of treads. You've got more leg room. The orientation of the ballpark gives us a fully shaded seating bowl at game time, which is a big differentiator from last year. And then some of the quality of seats, we have some really nice, like high back padded seats. So it feels more like a first class seat than just a cheap ballpark seat. I mean, even the size of the dugouts are major league sized. The new playing turf is, it's a pivot product, brand new, no crumb rubber. So it's a pretty innovative turf product that we're excited to unveil. First professional field it's on. The sound system is state of the art. We spared no expense on the sound system because we feel like that's really what brings the energy to the building. So we wanted that to be top of the line. And then the infrastructure we put around food and beverage, the layout of the concession stands, the layout of our food hall down the third base line, some unique seating options. I mean, really, like, we spent 2 years on the design, and tried to take the best of the best when it came to all the tours we did.
Gosh, that's great. I think that's what I like the most is that with your ballpark now, it has a Northwest flavor to it. You know that it's Hillsboro. It speaks to the Northwest, and I like that because when you go into certain like arenas or NBA arenas, there's nothing that differentiates it from other arenas, right? So you don't know where you're at, but this one definitely has that Northwest flavor that we all know and understand here, which is great.
Even including views of Mount Hood on clear days like today. So, but it's one of those things too that there's certain venues you walk into and it just kind of has a different feel to it, and that was it. You can't necessarily design it in. You have to maybe design some qualities to it, and then hopefully we get lucky. But Saturday we felt it, and we had again thousands of people walking through this place. And there was a buzz, there was an energy, and there was that feel to the venue, and all of our staff felt it. It was a really cool experience. So, gives us that energy we need getting ready for opening day now.
That's great. And you know what's awesome about that? Not to get cheesy, but it means a lot to me because now you can have families or mothers and daughters or fathers and sons who get a chance to go to the new ballpark. And they'll be able to create their own experiences together. And those are the things that I look back on and remember that I used to do with my dad that I enjoyed so much. And now you get a chance to be in that memory-making business, which is pretty cool if you think about it. Love it.
That's exactly right. Three generations. I mean, baseball is one of those sports you just see 3 generations of people all the time with grandpa, dad, and son in tow.
Yeah.
And having a hot dog together and sing and take me out to the ball game together. And it's just one of those really neat experiences that is going to be really special at the new ballpark.
All right. As Kale said, tickets are still available for the home opener, the grand opening of the new ballpark. It's going to be April 7th, a week from tomorrow. Go to hillsborohops.com. You can get your tickets now. And the season will kick off in Eugene on Friday. Pregame at 6:20, first pitch at 6:35 here on Rip City Radio 620. Hey, Kale, congratulations. I'm excited for next week. I know you are too, but this is pretty awesome, and I think it's a big moment, and I think it's a testament to you and your team and all the different people that put in the hard work to get this done. I can't believe the day's almost here, but this is great.
Yeah, I can't believe it either, but appreciate all your support, Chad. Appreciate you having me on, and we'll be ready. We'll be ready by next Tuesday.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Kale. There you go. Kale Wambacher, general manager for the Hops here on the Rip City Drive. Yeah, that ballpark is awesome. I drove by it the other night on 26, just looked over at it. I was like, wow, they got that done. It's big time right there. Big time. And Kale's awesome because he's like Joe Cronin, general manager for the Blazers, where KL, he started out as an intern. Much like a lot of these guys in sports do. He started out as an intern and just kind of worked his way up. So he's handled any job you can think of with the team he's done. And now he's the general manager, and he helped spearhead this effort to get the new stadium. So this is a day of celebration. And he said he's going to announce the first concert coming up here in the near future. And that's the great part. It's not just a ballpark, but this is a venue where we're going to be able to see many different, shows, concerts, everything, which is great. And that's what sports brings to your community. Good things. That's why getting the Moda Center renovated and, where it needs to be is important for all of us. All right. Big thanks to KL. We'll keep things rolling. Coming up at 6, Courtside Monday with Chris Burkhardt as we get ready for the big game tomorrow with the Clippers and Blazers. 8 o'clock tip. Game day at 6 on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, big thanks to Kale Wambacher. Again, that home opener to kick off the grand opening of the new ballpark will be a week from tomorrow, April 7th. And he said there's still some tickets available, so go to hillsborohops.com and get your tickets. You're going to want to be out there for that. Let's check the extended forecast for good measure to see what's cracking for next week. Golf season's right around the corner. And I love this sunshine. It was beautiful driving around town today. And, of course, April 7th looks like a little bit of rain in the forecast. That's nice. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all going to be nice. And then Tuesday, considerable cloudiness with occasional rain showers. That's so Northwest to have that on Tuesday, April 7th. Let's go out to the phones. Raider Mike. Haven't talked to him in a while. Raider Mike, what's up, my brother? What's cracking?
Whoa. The Blazers are on the verge. I checked out of the A's. I miss you, Chad.
I miss you too.
Doing a lot of Raider radio on Raider Nation and ESPN and Fox. But anyway, I got the NBA to pass, whatever it's called. I think we're going to push in to that 8 spot, maybe. Well, Denny, I love that. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, Denny's great. I love Denny. They definitely have a good chance because more than likely they'll finish ninth, which means they're going to host Golden State, and they'll probably win that game. And then they'll have a chance to play the Suns or the Clippers on the road to get into the postseason. So they can definitely do it. It's just a matter of, can they limit turnovers and play and remain engaged defensively. If they can do those things, they got a chance. But they can compete with those teams. There's no question about it.
I have not watched the A's in years. They're in Sacramento now. I got my Blazers back. And, of course, the Raiders cannot get out of the news at all. That Max thing, I actually went to Maryland to go visit my family for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
While that was happening. It was wild. I'm like, I was actually in Maryland when that was going down. I was like, what is going on, Baltimore? Really? You do that to Max? You send him back home? Oh, God, that man's going to be angry. He's going to eat quarterbacks.
So,
he's going to eat Muppet Kings.
What do you think?
Go ahead.
What's going to happen with Max? Is he going to play with the Raiders this year? Are they going to look to deal him closer to the season? How do you think it plays out?
When you're tatted up like he is, and he's basically been our figurehead, our masthead for 7 years, the only thing worth cheering for. And we got Fernando coming back, and they put those two beasts from Georgia in the middle behind him. You get a good nose tackle. That Raider D is going to be vicious because Kuntz is finally healthy. So I think Max is just going to stay home and say, let's play for the Super Bowl in 2029.
Yeah, I think
that's what's going to happen.
I love Max. Max Crosby's one of my favorite players in the NFL because he's got the insane motor. He never stops, and he's just a relentless playmaker. I think what happened with the Ravens is pretty simple. I think they got cold feet when they realized that they could have access to another defensive lineman and didn't want to give up the draft picks, and so therefore they called off the deal. I think that's what happened.
Hendrickson's not Max. Hendrickson's not Max.
No, I agree. I'm just saying that they thought we can get similar production without giving up the draft picks, and they got cold feet because the Ravens. Yeah, I think that's what happened. They got cold feet and walked away from it.
I agree. We're probably out of time. I miss you, bro. I'll call more during this Blazer run. We'll see where we go, man.
No, you got it, buddy. I miss you.
Hold on. You owe me a golf round
in
a Raider jersey still.
I'm in.
I'll get there eventually. Love you, bro.
Love you, man. You're the best. There he is, Raider Mike. So happy the Broncos beat them twice this year. Oh, Raider fans. And I do. I have to play a round of golf in a, I don't know what jersey he's going to give me. My assumption would be like Derek Carr or something really annoying. I'm trying to think. Who are some of the ex-Raiders I love? If you got a Tim Brown jersey, even with teams I hate, there's players that have played for the franchises that I respect. Howie Long, respect. Terry McDaniel, respect. Tim Brown, stud. Tim Brown's one of my favorite Raiders of all time. Who else? Yeah, Howie Long, Tim Brown. Derek Carr's a good dude. Not a great quarterback, but he was a cool guy, so I'm down with him. Marcus Allen. Love Marcus. I'd wear the Marcus jersey. Who else? That's pretty much it. The problem is that the Raiders and Broncos rivals for years, and until Mike Shanahan took over, the Raiders used to beat the Broncos all the time. It drove me crazy. And then Shanahan took over, and because of his bitterness with Al, he literally wanted to try and curb stomp them every time they played them. But I would say, like, think about the teams in your division. Like your favorite football team, think about the division and how much you despise those teams. If I had to pick my favorite players from each team, like Kansas City, I'd probably lean Derek Thomas. The Raiders, Tim Brown. And for the Chargers, I had a lot of respect for Junior Seau. Tough, great player. All right, Raider Mike, look forward to hearing from you soon. Big thanks to our guest today, Dan Dickow, Gonzaga great, former Trailblazer, former Prairie Falcon. Casey Bay, Beefwater from 105.9 The Brew, previewing his upcoming Autism Acceptance Walk. And Cale Wambacher of the Hops. Get your tickets now for the opener a week from tomorrow at hillsborohops.com. Big thanks to Brendan Slaughter for engineering the program. Courtside Monday with Chris Burkhart's coming up next. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Rip City Drive at 3. Game day at 6. Tip off with the Clippers tomorrow at 8 on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.